So Zarah Sultana has been smeared as pro-Putin. Wow, I mean, we haven't heard that attack line before. Now, appearing on Politics Joe, the issue of NATO came up.
When I was at the conference in Paris, there were really inspiring speakers from both Russia and Ukraine. And what they were both saying was, we want this war to end because it is working class Ukrainians and working class Russians who are being killed. And the fact that when the illegal invasion from Russia took place, we needed more voices, obviously, to criticize that because Putin is a dictator, a gangster, and there are war crimes that have been committed. But Zelensky isn't a friend of the working class either, and those were the voices that I was hearing in Paris. The only people that benefit from conflict in Ukraine and in Gaza or anywhere else are arms manufacturers and people who profit from the arms industry, and that is the kind of economy that we should be not prioritizing. The fact that the UK sells arms to Israel, the fact that we sell arms to the UAE, which fuel conflict in Sudan, and the fact that arms manufacturers in this country, whether it's BAE, Leonardo, and others, benefit from what is happening in Ukraine is harrowing, and we should put all of our efforts in stopping war wherever it takes place.
Now, the clip has done the rounds, and many within the political establishment have rushed to attack Zara as a Putin supporter. Sebastian Payne, who I still hear hasn't given up on a Tory seat, said, actual Kremlin talking points right here. I mean, I don't think calling Putin a dictator and a gangster is a Kremlin talking point. Now, of course, Paul Mason joined in. She was elected on a manifesto supporting NATO and Ukraine. She's an imposter and should stand for re-election on a clear Putinist platform. These people are absolutely wild. Okay, so let's go through what she said. And by the way, I disagree with much of it, right? But I don't accuse her of being a Putin puppet. Now, she first starts off by attacking Putin, which is, kind of hard to call her a Kremlin stooge when saying that will probably get her thrown in a Russian jail. Now, she says she spoke to both Russians and Ukrainians, and that was their view. So what? She's being attacked for being the messenger? Now, look, this war has taken so many lives, and I don't think it's ridiculous or it's a ridiculous conversation to have in which people want peace and want an end to the killing. Now, some might say, well, look, they're fighting for their land. Which part of the UK would you give up? And I say, look, I agree. I understand why Ukraine is still fighting. But if someone is coming at this from the angle of peace, I might not agree in this specific instance, but I think it's an important contribution to have. And I don't think it means they side with the enemy. Her comment about Zelensky not caring about Ukrainian working class people, I think that pissed people off. But think about this, right? After World War II, the British quickly got rid of Winston Churchill and voted in Clement Attlee. They knew that Churchill wasn't representative of the working class. They didn't want the Tories in, they wanted Labour. So I don't think it's unthinkable to hold the idea that a leader during a time of war, will care for the nation, will fight for it, but at the end of the war, you don't want them for their domestic policies. Now, Zelensky, it's true, he isn't a leftist. I mean, he's severely attacked unions. And if and when the war comes to an end, I don't think it's unreasonable to say, thank you, but we don't want you in charge of our domestic policies anymore. Look, if we went to war and then it ended, should I vote for Keir Starmer? No, I won't. I mean, he could be brilliant in times of war, but I don't want his government in charge of our public services. Now, look, the analysis of NATO from Zara and many other leftists is accurate, right? It's an imperialist, capitalist war machine. Now, where I disagree with Zara is unilaterally pulling from it. I think it would expose us. It's kind of the devil you know. And look, I get it. It's a position of strategy rather than principle, I admit. But once again, I don't attack others for being traitors because they have a different opinion. Now, pulling out of NATO is unbelievably unpopular. So you can see the question, do you support UK's NATO membership? 64% support it and 4% oppose, including 62% of 2024 Green Party voters back NATO membership. It is deeply, deeply unpopular. No one supports it, right? And I don't think it's a good policy to have if you want electoral support. And I think the Greens have it right, or rather Zach Polansky. He's been saying, not to pull out unilaterally, but look at, I don't know, a European alliance or an alternative. But given how unpopular NATO withdrawal is, I still welcome voices like Zara because it's clear we need a national conversation on the role of NATO. We certainly need one before any policy changes because it's not popular, and I think it can kill a left political project. But we're 4 years away from an election. The Greens are doing very well at the moment. I think it's probably good that we have another left-wing party that has a different stance, right? If they're exactly the same, then what's the point of having two same left-wing parties? And politics is about narratives, right? It could be very helpful that we have voices that put NATO in the conversation without damaging the Greens because they're not doing it, but your party, for example, is. Now, look, it's the same attacks against Jeremy Corbyn, despite the many times the political establishment fawned over Putin, including Tony Blair, right? At the same time, Jeremy Corbyn was attacking Putin. Yet when he said we shouldn't send arms to Ukraine, again, I disagree. So many smeared him as a Putin apologist. Why are people so afraid of debate? Those who rigorously defend NATO, I mean, are they not comfortable in their own arguments? It doesn't seem so. It's just, you're a Putin lover. And I'm so bored of these attacks. Let's have a conversation and everyone might learn something.